hers. I used to beg my African-American female girlfriend, appearing to be in her early 30s, for affection, until the night I overheard her laughing.
My name is Erin Miles, and I never knew affection could turn into humiliation so quietly. When I met Lauren, she felt like sunlight, warm, bright, impossible to ignore. She had that rare mix of confidence and charm that made everyone around her feel a little more alive. I fell hard, and she fell too. Or so I thought. In the beginning, she adored everything about me. She told me I made her feel safe, valued, and grounded. She said my gentleness was what healed her from past heartbreaks. For a while, I believed we had something real, something steady, but over time, that warmth faded. It happened slowly, like erosion. First, the compliments stopped. Then the small touches. Then came the nights where she turned away from me in bed, scrolling through her phone until its screen glowed brighter than anything we shared. One night, I reached for her hand while we were watching a movie, just wanting that small closeness we used to have. She gently pulled away. "Are you mad at me?" I joked, trying to soften the sting. She just sighed. "Erin, stop being needy." "You're fine." That was the first crack in the foundation. Months passed, and I tried everything. I cooked her favorite meals, planned weekend getaways, and surprised her with small, thoughtful gifts. But every effort felt like trying to warm someone who was already walking out the door. The emotional closeness disappeared first, and the physical one followed. One night, I finally asked her the question that had been burning in my chest. "Do you still find me attractive?" She laughed. It wasn't a kind laugh. It wasn't gentle. It was the kind of laugh that leaves a bruise on a man's dignity. "Oh, Erin," she said, "you're always asking for affection like some lost puppy. Stop begging for intimacy and actually act like a man." I swallowed hard and nodded, pretending I didn't feel the ground fall out from under me. But that night, something inside me went quiet. She didn't notice. She didn't care. Days turned into weeks. Her life revolved around her phone, her job, her social circle, her new coworkers. I became background noise in my own home, until one evening, when everything changed. She was on a call with one of her friends, laughing loud enough for her voice to echo down the hallway. I walked past the room just as she said, "Erin, please." He practically begs for intimacy. It's pathetic. My heart stopped. I stood there, frozen, her words burning into my mind. That wasn't just distance. It wasn't stress or fading love. That was mockery. And that was the night I decided it wasn't my job to keep a relationship alive all by myself anymore. Not this time. Not anymore. The next morning, I didn't confront her. I didn't argue or cry. I simply woke up early, made myself coffee, and sat in complete silence. Not angry, not emotional. Just done. For the next few days, I mirrored her energy. No affection. No long conversations. No trying. And the strangest thing happened. She noticed. "Are you pouting?" she asked one evening, raising an eyebrow. I smiled slightly. "Just giving you what you wanted." Confusion flickered across her face, the first real reaction I'd seen from her in months. As the days passed, the shift became impossible for her to ignore. I started going to the gym after work. I joined friends for dinner without asking her permission. I stopped waiting up for her at night. I stopped orbiting her moods. For the first time in years, I started rediscovering myself, my hobbies, my peace, my confidence. It wasn't about revenge. It was about healing. Lauren didn't understand what was happening, and that terrified her. She started sitting beside me on the couch, making small talk just to fill the silence. She'd ask if I wanted takeout, if I wanted to watch something together, if I wanted to go out. I kept my responses calm, polite, but distant. One night, she snapped. "Erin, are you mad at me or something?" I closed my book and met her eyes. "No, I'm just done chasing someone who doesn't want to be caught." Her expression cracked, the first sign of regret, the first sign of fear. The woman who once rolled her eyes at my affection now looked unsettled by my calm detachment. Suddenly, she was the one texting me during the day. "Miss you. What time will you be home?" I made dinner tonight. Before, those messages would have made my heart race. Now, I replied hours later, not out of spite, but because my world no longer revolved around her. One weekend, she suggested a date night. It had been months since she initiated anything. She dressed up hair curled, her favorite perfume, the dress I once said made her look like a dream. She was trying, really trying. At dinner, she kept waiting for me to fill the silence. But I didn't. I was polite, calm, present, but not the man who once begged for crumbs of affection. Finally, she exhaled shakily. "You've changed, Aaron." I met her gaze. "No, you just stopped appreciating the version of me who loved you loudly." Her face drained of color. "That's not fair," she whispered. I smiled sadly. "Neither was mocking me to your friends." She froze. That single moment was a turning point. The power dynamic in our relationship had completely flipped. She had taken my love for granted, thinking it was an endless resource she could tap into whenever she felt like it. But she never realized that even the deepest wells can run dry. Her mockery was the final act that poisoned the water. Now faced with a man who no longer needed her validation, she was lost. Her attempts to win me back felt desperate and hollow. She started leaving little notes, buying me gifts, suggesting we talk about our feelings. The very things she once dismissed as needy were now her only tools, but it was too late. I had already started building a new life for myself, one where my self-worth wasn't tied to her approval. I reconnected with old friends, picked up my guitar again, and even started planning a solo trip I'd always dreamed of. Each step I took away from her was a step toward myself. She saw me becoming a whole person without her, and it broke the illusion that she was the center of my universe. One evening, she sat me down, tears in her eyes. "I miss you, Aaron. I miss us." I looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't feel anger or sadness. I just felt a quiet finality. "The us you miss was built on my effort," I said calmly. "And the man you miss was someone you ridiculed. Which one is it you truly want back?" She couldn't answer. In the end, we went our separate ways. It wasn't a dramatic explosion, but a quiet, mutual understanding that the bridge between us had been burned, and neither of us had the will to rebuild it. The lesson I learned was profound. You can't force someone to value you. Your affection is a gift, not an obligation. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to stop giving it to someone who doesn't appreciate it. True strength isn't about chasing someone relentlessly. It's about having the courage to walk away and rediscover your own worth. My story isn't one of revenge, but of self-reclamation. And that's a victory in itself. Thanks for listening. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more.